Hey, 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 hey. Welcome to Wine with Dave. I'm Dave. I always bring the Dave. You got to bring the wine, folks. Tonight is a very special night. It's a Friday night. Guess what I'm drinking? I'm not going to say until we get into it. Hey, everybody. It is Wine O'Clock. It's Wine O'Clock, and I'm excited. It's a Friday, people. I just got another couple clients this last few days, so it's looking cool. But I do feel bad for people who are losing clients. I really do, because we lost some. You lose them, you gain them. You lose them, you gain them. We're in crazy times. But my guest tonight will calm your nerves. You got to calm down. You got to calm down. Who do we have listening tonight? Aaron Kloss looks like water. Wow, no one else voted and you already got it right. Jeez. Is it the ice cubes? Aaron got it. The ice cubes. Ice cubes gave it away. So look, it is Wine O'Clock. For the next 59 minutes, we are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to get right into segment one because I really want to give my guest, who's a personal friend of mine, plenty of time to chat and talk. But first, if you're just visiting here for the first time and you have not liked this page, shame on you. You got to like the page. Just like it and you'll get notified of upcoming events. Actually, every night is an event and every night has a new guest. And I've got some interesting people coming up, folks. Just for you. I do it just for you. All right, so leave a comment. Leave a comment and just say where you're from, what town, what city. Okay? Just say that. Just say it. I know there are people listening. Rick Greenwood from California. It's Friday, people. It is. It's Friday, people. All right. So what was I going to say? Yeah, leave a comment and also just like the page because I forget to say that. Trying to build up the following here and share some love. The next segment is really cool and a lot of people like this. It's called Did You Know? Aaron Kloss, Lincoln, Rhode Island. Good. Okay, ready? You guys ready for Did You Know? Did You Know is sweeping the nation. People just love Did You Know? And here we are with Did You Know? Let me move this out of the way. Where am I? Did you know? Cars were first started with ignition keys when? 1949. Did you know? Yeah, that's right. Semi's in the background. I can hear him. Did you know the lie detector was invented in 1921? True or false? That's true. The lie detector was invented in 1921. That was not an interactive Did You Know, but there is 4, so you got to listen for them. There is 4 Did You Knows that are interactive. A red light has the highest wavelength. Now you're thinking, well, what does that mean? Well, I study color psychology, and if a kitchen is painted red, your heart rate goes up more than any other color in a red room, which makes you hungrier and kind of angrier too. That's why a lot of Italian restaurants have rich reds and deep greens and tomatoey saucy. It's not just because it reminds them of sauce. Red makes you eat more. It's true. Green vibrates the least. That's why Semi is in the green room right now. That's why they call it a green room. Calm your nerves. He's not really in a green room, but anyway. I digress. I'm getting off the topic. Here it is. Here's the interactive. According to the Old English time system, a moment is how long? When someone says, oh, I'll be just a moment, how long is a moment? Put it in. Just type in moment, dash, and then put in what you think it is. 10 minutes, 2 seconds? What do you think a moment is? Armadillos can walk underwater. Did you know that? Did you know? Roosters can't crow if they can't extend their necks. And flamingos can only eat if their heads are upside down. Did you know? People are already starting to vote. That's good. Keep voting, people. I'll put your comments up there. Like Rick Greenwood, he thinks a moment is 3 minutes. Come on, people. You can leave comments. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Aaron, the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. That's a moment. I'll give you the answers after this is over. Fingerprints of a koala bear are indistinguishable to that of a human. Did you know? If you're going to rob a bank, bring a koala bear with you. Make him open the door. Make him take the money. Here it is, another interactive. A female ferret is called what? A female ferret. Artificial Christmas trees have outsold real ones every year since 1991. Did you know? 70% of all Irish barley grown goes towards the production of Guinness beer. That's correct. 70% of all Irish barley. Here's another interactive. A deck of playing cards should be shuffled how many times before you deal the hand? How many times? Put cards. Answer. The side of a hammer is called a cheek. Here's another interactive and the last one. Pinocchio is Italian for what word? And the longest word that can be typed using only your right hand is lollipop. It's the longest word you can type only using your right hand. All right, we're done. We're done. According to Old English time system, a moment is how long? A female ferret is called what? A deck of playing cards should be shuffled at least how many times? And Pinocchio is Italian for what? And that ends that episode, that segment of Did You Know? Let's add up the people. Let's see. All right. 3 minutes. So how long is a moment? According to the Old English time system, 3 minutes. Actually, he's wrong. Aaron Kloss, the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, he's wrong. Only 2 people voted. So I'll give you the answer. It's 1.5 minutes. So if you can do something in 1.5 minutes, you can legally say, I'll be just a moment. 1.5 minutes. What's that, 90 seconds? All right, a female ferret. No one voted on that. Oh, yeah, someone did. Rick Greenwood thinks so. A female ferret is a weasel. You got girl issues? Girlfriend, you call me a weasel? You out of here. No, it's not called a weasel. What else do we have? No one else voted. So, Rick, you could win, but you didn't. A female ferret is called a Jill. Jill. Yep. Jack and female ferret went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down, but female ferret broke her crown. Okay, next. That's not funny. A deck of cards should be shuffled how many times? Sal Sorko says 7. That's a lot of S's. Sal Sorko said 7 stupendously. Aaron Kloss says 3. He believes in 3. Greenwood, 7. 3 people voted. We have 2 winners. 7 times. You should shuffle the deck 7 times. Rick won. Sal Sorko won. And the last one of the night, Pinocchio is Italian word for what? Did you know that Pinocchio means pine head? Rick thought it meant wood. Technically, you're kind of right. Aaron thinks Pinocchio means long nose. No, that's not true. It means pine head. So if you want to call someone a pine head, you could just call him a Pinocchio. All right, that was Did You Know? Leave a comment there if you like Did You Know. Last night, people liked it, so I'm like, I'll keep it going. But it does take some time. It takes like 10 minutes. I want to kind of get into other stuff, but I like it. It's interesting things, I didn't know artificial Christmas trees outsold regular ones since 1991. That's crazy. Don't get in the real Christmas tree business. That's just not going to work. All right. We are on to the next mini segment. And on Fridays, I usually do a national day. The national day today is, today, and I'm not going to talk about it because the day's almost over. And since I don't have Wine with Dave on Saturday, I'm going to talk about tomorrow's day. So today happens to be National Chocolate Chip Day, National Nylon Stocking Day, Peace Offers Memorial Day, National NASCAR Day, National Bike to Work Day, too late for that, National Defense Transportation Day, National Endangered Species Day, and I was going to talk about that. The koala bear. People are stealing koala bears using their thumbprints to break into banks. And it's also National Pizza Party Day, which is cool. But enough of that, because tomorrow is a full day and you can enjoy it with what? Boom. It's National Barbecue Day, Aaron Kloss. Come on, I'm glad you're on listening. Mr. Fire Pit, Mr. Pitmaster. It's your day, dude. National Fire Pit Day. No, National Barbecue Day. Get that barbecue roaring, dude. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let me get rid of it. Can I get rid of this thing? How do I get rid of it? Oh my God, we're stuck with the barbecue pit through the whole thing. No, I'm going to get rid of it. All right, sweet, huh? That's cool. Love, did you know? He likes it. Dave Stebbin, did you know is a good segment. All right, I'm going to keep it. All I need is 2 people. Dave, I'm gonna show your video Monday. Dave Stebbin's a stop motion animator. He's got some really cool stuff. I'm gonna premiere a new stop motion little clip on Monday. So we got to talk, Dave. We got to talk. But it's National Barbecue Day tomorrow. Get those hamburgers out, people. Where am I at? Where am I at today with Wine with Dave? Yeah, tonight I'm not drinking a buttery Chardonnay. I finished the box. It was a Nighthawk Gold, and it was pretty good. It was buttery. That goes down smooth, too. Water. There's nothing like water. Anyway, we're going to get on to the next segment. Monday night, guys. Next week is pretty funky, and I'm booked for the next 2.5 weeks. Monday night, my guest is all the way from Leeds, England. Singer-songwriter John Cocker. Really cool guy. He's going to be up late. 9 o'clock's going to be like, I think, 3 a.m. for him, 4 a.m. Joining me Tuesday night, really cool, is Viking, Celtic, and Norse artist Jeremy Buckles. This guy makes Viking chairs. If you are into woodworking, oh my goodness, you need to watch. He's got some crazy stuff. Viking, Norse, Celtic carvings, big Viking Game of Thrones chairs and everything. I just choked on my words. That's how big it is. I just choked on my words. But tonight you're in for a treat. Born in Albania, raised in Greece, turning up the volume in Boston and beyond. International financial advisor, Semi Spahillari. Check it out. Semi, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Dave? Thank you for having me, and thank you for that awesome preview video.
You like that,
awesome,
huh?
Man. That looks awesome, man.
Almost as awesome as you, my friend. I'm trying to raise the bar up to your level, trying to do some good animation. You're an animated guy.
I appreciate it.
So you're one of those pictures. You're with a woman being interviewed on a television show. What is that?
Yeah.
Is it a cable?
Yeah, so one of those pictures was the woman one you said?
Well,
'Cause
there was
a couple
two. You were
pictures
with a
maybe of
very
yeah.
famous person's girlfriend. We'll get it to that later. But who was
Okay.
the other woman?
So the other one, she's actually an entrepreneur out of Boston,
Yep.
and she has the show coming up. She said that they're in talks for it to get picked up by Netflix, which would be awesome.
Nice.
But it's a show called Underdog. So what she does is she does all these stories about people that came, from hardships or people that had to overcome a lot of things to become successful. So really cool show. She heard about me. She's also Albanian. So she thought it'd be, just a good connection, somebody good to interview. So
Nice.
it kept working out well. They're editing it, so it should be out. I'll post it on my page within the next month or so. So
Oh, yeah. Let me know if that becomes a series. But the photo
Absolutely.
next to her is a very attractive young lady. Who is that?
So that one is actually Camille Kostek, and that is Gronk's girlfriend.
Yeah, Gronk's girlfriend. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm part of a pretty cool group called Boston Man. And Boston Man actually started in Philly. It was called Philly Man there. Then it came to Boston, and it became Boston Man. And it's kind of like a social / business group.
Yep.
Where, before COVID happened, we used to get together every month or every other month at some cool venues in Boston, and somebody well-known from Boston always visited it. So, and obviously, Dave, you've been to one of the events with me, so you can
I've been
speak on
twice.
that.
It's
So,
pretty
yeah.
amazing. It's high-end networking. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it just happened that day Camille was there. Gronk didn't make it. I think he had a game the next day. So she was there, and she's awesome. I mean, she does a lot of humanitarian work, so she came to speak to us. We got to meet her, take pictures with her. That was it. Far away, she said that she thought I was Gronk. And then when I got closer, she's like, "You're a little bit shorter," but
She almost gave you the peck on the cheek.
yeah, almost.
She just got, well, it was in low lighting, yeah. Your Albanian features just become all of a sudden all-American white boy.
When I wake up in the morning and there's not enough lighting, sometimes I think, is that Gronk in the mirror?
Sometimes I think I look like you, but then, then I wake up from that nightmare.
Okay.
Hey, tell me about, so you're a financial advisor. Tell me about how COVID-19 has impacted people and the economy, because you're like the guy to talk to about this.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
And are you worried?
yeah, so in a weird way, I actually become a lot more busy when the world is chaotic than when the world is not. So during times like these is when I get the most calls from clients and from people, because 90% of it is kind of talking people off the ledge, calming their minds, talking to them from a different point of view, because most of the time you get your financial advice from your parents or somebody at work that you have. So a lot of times people want to hear from a professional who's in the industry, who wants to know, and they want to know what they think about what's going to happen. So as far as how COVID has impacted the economy, obviously small businesses have taken a huge hit, especially self-employed people. But funny enough, the other day I read an article about the psychology behind what COVID is doing. And up until now, the people that we kind of held so high on a pedestal were like the athletes, the actors, the actresses, people that we saw on TV that we said, wow, I wish we had their life. And I think in a crazy way, once COVID is done, there's going to be a huge shift in psychology between who, on an everyday basis, who we see as important and who we don't. So now I feel like we never saw teachers, nurses, all the people working on the front lines as that important, because all that we would see on TV is, the athletes. Dave, are you still there?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I just lost you for 3 seconds, but all we see is athletes and all the, yep.
Got it, yeah. And so now people are starting to realize how much more important nurses are, how much more important people that work in the healthcare industry are, how much more important teachers are, when now we're going to virtual meetings and virtual classrooms. So we're starting to understand a lot more about who the most important people are in our lives and their backgrounds than what we thought of before. So in a weird way, there's this huge psychology shift in who we're going to see as more important and who we're going to have a lot more respect for in the future. As far as the economy, the number one question that I get from everybody is there going to be like a market crash? Is there going to be like a housing market crash? And you know what? Anybody that tries to tell you that they know what's going to happen probably doesn't, because nobody really knows what's going to happen in the market. And my thinking is, if there is a big change in the housing market, meaning housing prices go down, big areas like Boston, downtown Boston, the surrounding areas probably won't get affected that much. It's going to be towns that are on the outskirts or a lot farther than that could get affected. And the sad part is, people that are around my age that have money in the market, we have plenty of time for that money to bounce back up. Our retirement accounts, yeah, they might go down for the next 2-3 years, but we have plenty of time for them to bounce back up. Sad part is, the people that are within 2 to 3 years of retirement or that just retired, they got kind of the bad card in the deck, where now they have to worry about, wow, my first year of retirement, the market went down. So the money that I thought was going to last me for 20, 30 years now will no longer last there. So I think the best thing to do, not make any sudden moves because of what you hear on the internet, because of what you read online, or because of what other people say. Talk to a professional, because they'll be able to explain it better. So.
Right. I mean, someone was telling me the other day, banks might just kind of let you drift a bit with your mortgage, but then once everyone's back, it's like, we want our money now, and people can't pay, and foreclosures and bankruptcies, but it could happen. But you're right. We've never been in this situation before. That may not even happen. So
yeah. I actually have a really good friend that works for Bank of America. And he said last week there were so many applications that came in for small business loans that he literally had to work about 16 hours for like 4 days in a row in order to be able to meet the demand. So however bad you think the situation is, it's probably even a little bit worse than that. Sure.
Yeah, certainly. So you're an international guy, born in Albania, but raised in Greece. Tell me a little bit about that. Just a little bit, like, what happened?
Yeah, so
what happened?
Funny enough, I laugh because the day that I was born, and that week that I was born actually, was the week that the old government was being overthrown in my town in Albania. So I was actually born, and my parents always tell me a story where my dad was sitting outside of the hospital, and behind him there's people, burning flags and people rioting and all these crazy things going on, clashes with the police. So my parents thought that it's probably not a good environment to raise a child. So when I turned 2 years old, they actually moved to Athens, Greece first, and then they saw an opportunity to move to an island in the Aegean called Paros Island. And so I had some family there already, and the family told us, you know what, in the summers, the island is crazy. There's a lot of tourism. There's a lot of money coming in. And there was. And that was about it. There was a lot of tourism. There was a lot of money coming in the summer. And once summer ended, all the money that you made in the summer, you end up spending to be able to make ends meet until next summer.
Wow.
So when it came, there was nothing to do. So at the time, I was doing really well in school. And unfortunately, on the island, there's no big colleges or anything like that. You'd have to move to go to a big school. So my parents thought, what better place for Semi to continue schooling than the United States? So they picked Boston because, Harvard, MIT, all these big schools are here. So they thought that's a great place for a start. So we lived 11 years on an island, and now we've been here about 17 years.
Wow.
17 years this month, yeah.
So you're international. How has your international background helped the way that you think about investing?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. So a while back, I actually wrote an article, and here's what I find fascinating about finance and financial planning in general, is that it's probably 90% psychology and human psychology, and 10% real numbers. And obviously, with the work that I do, we have all these different programs that do a lot of forecasting and all the math behind the stocks and what stocks and mutual funds we pick. So I don't really have to do a lot of the math myself. But what I do have to do is try and figure out people's psychology of why they want to invest in this way or why they want to invest in a different way. And I think part of what's helped me be able to understand the psychology better is to see a big difference in psychology between how people think in Europe, how people think in Africa, in different continents, in Asia, in the United States, and why it's different in the way that it is. So a lot of it has to do with history. So I think history has showed, especially in Greece and Albania, there's been a lot of different types of Ponzi schemes. There's been a lot of warfare where people really had to make money last because they knew during the war they weren't going to be able to get any food. So that changed their psychology in a way where they'll probably be leaning 99% towards conservative than they would risky, because they're used to their whole lives really struggling to make the money and really being afraid that what if I don't have this money next month. So there's a big difference in especially the financial education that people have here than they do overseas. And I think a big part of that is that life and that history experience that they have.
Right. Hey, if you have any questions for Semi about different types of investing, he can't give specifics, obviously. But just any questions, just ask away, and I will put it on the screen. Word of the day, Dave Stebbin. Sorry, I should have clicked that on earlier. I don't know what that was relating to, but it takes all day for good Q. Good Q, don't know what that means. But anyway, so I know I should be clicking on these so I know it's because it's like a conversation's going on and then, anyway. But if you're listening to this and you're not on Wine with Dave and you're watching another page, because sometimes this gets shared to other pages, and you're leaving a comment and it's not showing up, it's because you have to leave a comment on the Wine with Dave page. So just leave your page right now. Only takes a second. Facebook.com/Wine with Dave. And there we are. Just scroll down a little bit. You'll see us. You'll see me doing this, right? Hey, here I am. Leave a comment. It'll show up. What else do we have? What are the biggest obstacles that you find with people when it comes to money and saving? Because everyone has an obstacle on, and phobia, right? They've got phobia when talking about money.
Yeah. So one funny part about that, and I'm gonna jump into a quick little story here, is if you try and explain to people. Like, I'm going to mention Albania because that's where I'm from, and I still have a lot of friends and family there.
Yep.
And the exchange rate of, like, US dollars to Albanian lek is what they have there is way different. There's a big shift, and things are a lot cheaper there than they are here. But trying to explain to people, like, overseas the amount of money that you make here, but then them having to actually convert it to the amount of money that they have there, is very difficult. And I'll explain why. So people here, most people make pretty good money, but the huge difference here in the United States than overseas is things here are really expensive. So yeah, you might make a lot of money here, but the rent takes up, or the mortgage takes up a huge part of it. Then you have kids, and kids' clothes are expensive, especially if you have infants. Then you have to worry about diapers, and you have to worry about baby food and pets. So now you have to worry about the pet food and everything else. So I think one of the biggest issues that people run into, one of the biggest obstacles here, is that people never really sat, and CPAs, at least 99 of the CPAs that I know, don't really do this. They don't really sit down with people and work on a budget. They do your taxes. They tell you, here are some things that you can do to save money. Here are some things that you can do to not pay as many taxes. But nobody really sits down with people here and goes through an actual budget where they're like, okay, so you're spending this much here, this much here, this much here. If you want to save a little bit more money on this side, then maybe buy one less Starbucks coffee, or maybe buy one less pack of cigarettes, or whatever the difference is. So, Dave, can you still hear me?
I'm still here, yep.
Sorry, it started raining, so I kind of lost you for a little bit.
Yeah.
So what happens is people don't have a really good structure, so they assume if they have a little bit of extra money at the end of the month, instead of putting it away for retirement or putting it towards, let's say, like life insurance or an individual retirement account, they're like, well, you know what? Why don't I buy some extra food that I might need next month, or why don't I buy this, or why don't I buy some more clothes that I might need it for the future. So I think the biggest obstacle is people don't really have anybody that will give them that structure.
Does that happen overseas, like in Greece and Albania, Europe? Do you think people are more open to talking about their budgets?
Probably even less there
Really?
than here. So the concept of financial advisor overseas is, no pun intended, a foreign concept. The only people that really had financial advisors in Greece and Albania were people that had a lot of money. I mean, really high net worths.
Yeah. So
without getting that financial education in school, but then not really even having access to a financial advisor, where would people ever get their quote unquote financial advice? And they would get it from family members, or they would get it from doing, going online and checking out articles. And whatever you try to search online, you're going to always find like 12 different things that reach the same endpoint. So you never know what to believe and what you shouldn't believe.
So here's a question. Dave Stebbins says, how much debt is okay to carry? Now, I know ultimately you don't want to have any, but what's reasonable?
So
that's a good question, Dave, by the way.
Yeah, it's a fantastic question. And here's the thing. There is no one cookie cutter approach to anybody, because the amount of debt, or like the debt to income ratio that financial advisors always say, all depends on, people have different incomes and people have different ratios, and people have a different number of kids, and people maybe have an upcoming college expense, or it depends what the debt is for.
Right.
Like mortgage, it could be credit card debt. So,
but what if it's like a married couple, 2 kids? What's typical?
Unfortunately, there's no one right answer. And I hate leaving it this way, but saying the right amount and trying to figure out a number, you could give me 10 different couples that have married couple, 2 kids, and they each have a different amount of debt, but they each have a different amount of income. So there isn't one, even though they have the same family structure, there isn't one right answer for everybody. But I guess the only advice that I could give is an acceptable amount of debt would be an amount of debt that you think, little by little, not all at one time, you're going to be able to pay in the next 3 to 5 years. Pay off, not including like mortgage where you have like a 20-year, you know what I mean?
Like the credit card debt and all that stuff.
Little by little every month,
and
you're paying off the interest. Should take you 3 to 5 years, probably a good amount of time.
That's fair enough. And I guess also it depends on the type of debt. I mean, if it's
Correct.
If it's a credit card at like a JCPenney, they just filed for bankruptcy today, by the way. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
But if it's like you're buying a bunch of clothes, it's like that's not good debt. But
Correct.
You bought a house, you're investing in yourself. That's so.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I read once that the average American, and of course there is no average, but the average has $23,000 in debt. But then I think that's an individual. I don't know if that's a married couple.
I think a big part of that would probably be due to like school loans. That seems to be one of the biggest. Whenever I sit down with clients, that seems to be one of the biggest expenses on their monthly they're paying off.
Yeah. Here's another one. Another question just came in.
Question.
During this crisis, should we put a hold on paying credit cards?
So no. Like straight answer, probably not. So during this time, one of the biggest things to think about is things will get better in the future, and a lot of these companies will be judged on how they treated their customers during this time.
Oh yeah.
especially credit cards that have interest, that interest will not stop. So the only time that I would say to somebody, stop paying this, which is accruing interest, in order to pay something else, is if I think this something else will make you more money than you would lose in the interest. So think of it like this. Let's say you have a credit card that has 10% interest, which is actually low because most credit cards are more. But let's say you have a credit card that has 10% interest. And you're like, I can either put money and pay back this credit card that has 10% interest, or somehow, if this was possible, not really possible at the time, unless you get really lucky, I can put all my money in this investment, which tells me that in a year or in 2 years, this will go up by 25%. Now, either pay something off that's making you lose 10% or invest in something that's making you 25%.
Right.
So
it's on two sides of the needle. One's negative, one's,
Yeah. So don't stop paying credit card unless you think you can put that money into good use somewhere else.
That's good. That's good advice. Good advice. How are you dealing with the success that you have as a young financial advisor? Because I know you're fairly successful, and I know you're really humble about it too, mostly. but no, you're doing really well, and you're a young guy, but you go to these meetings, right? And you see all these other guys they've been at it for 20 years, men and women that are at it for 20 years or so, and you're so young. How do you feel about that?
So,
and Dave says thank you, by the way, the guy that you gave.
You're welcome. Yeah. So firsthand experience with that. 6 months ago now, I went to like an international conference. It's called President's Council. So usually in the financial industry, it takes people anywhere from 10 to 12 years to be able to reach that level, that council level, as we call it. And I did it on my year 3, which was great. But the people that I met there were people that have been there minimum of about 10 years up to 30 and 40 years. So one thing that this reminded me of, and you asking this question, was my first year in the business. It was me and another financial advisor that were looking to get the business of an estate planning firm in Boston. Big law firm, 3 partners. It was between me and another financial advisor. So I went in and I presented my case and I presented what I created for them. And the other guy went in on a different day. One of the guys that actually brought me in, he was a good friend of mine. We went to school together, so that's how I met his partners. And they said that his partners were leaning towards the other guy because the other guy had been in the business for 12 plus years, and he had what's called like a CFP, Certified Financial Planner certification, which, by the way, I'm like 2 classes away from getting. So
okay.
I should have, but I didn't have it my first year in business. But the guy had a CFP. So the only reason they liked me more, my presentation more, the only thing that separated the other guy, according to his partners, were that the other guy had that CFP certification. And that made me think back on a story where it does in a way, but in another way, it doesn't matter what all the certifications somebody has, because that doesn't ultimately make them a better person that you should work with. One of the people that had their certifications that I just kind of got reminded was Bernie Madoff, who ran one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in the world.
Oh.
I think it was a CFP.
Good guy.
Yeah, so just having a certification doesn't automatically make you a better person.
That's right.
So that's why I advise most people, not just because I'm in the industry, but at least give even the people starting out a chance to speak and a chance for you to meet with them, because those are the hungry guys. One of the other big things is I'm young, and the average age of people that I work with, the average age of my clients, is right around 33 and a half when we did all the metrics. So a little bit older than me. And what I figured out is one of the biggest reasons why they chose to work with me as opposed to with a financial advisor that's already been in the business for 10 to 20 or 30 years is because they want to make sure that when they retire, I'm still going to be there.
Yeah,
if
true.
they start working with a financial advisor that's 50, 60 years old, and that guy wants to retire in 5 years, or wants to retire in 10 years, or wants to retire before the clients retire, their case is going to go to somebody else who maybe doesn't even know them, doesn't know their family, doesn't know their background, doesn't know anything. So people would rather work with somebody younger because they want to make sure that I'll be there throughout their life, up to retirement.
Right. No one wants to be an orphan getting tossed to the next agent. Yeah. I remember you saying that. That makes sense. So some of your clients are thinking the long game, right? They're thinking, look, I like this guy. I don't want to switch. I want to get a guy that's young, that's not going to croak in 10 years or retire. So that's good. That's good. Yeah. You got to take care of yourself, though. Be healthy. Absolutely. And you are. You had an operation on your knee, too. Talk about that. You had a promising soccer career. I did.
So we should go into that a little bit, because that kind of leads into where I am now and why I've always thought, kept a positive attitude where I said everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Interesting
here
story.
if that had never happened. So when I first came from Greece here, didn't speak English very well, didn't have a lot of friends, didn't have really a way to make friends because I didn't speak English very well. And my dad actually ended up leaving Greece 2 years before he brought me and my mom here. So dad hadn't really seen me play any sports or hadn't really seen my soccer skills at all. So when I came here, he was like, what sport do you play? What sport do you like? I was like, soccer, of course. He's like, okay, well, let me sign you up for like youth soccer. And he didn't know at the time that I was a little bit skilled. So he signed me up for youth soccer, and those games, 11 against 11, usually those games would finish, 1-0, 2-0, 3, maybe 4 if it was a crazy game or something like that. And when I joined the team, we're beating the other teams like 13-0 or like 18-0 or like 16-2 or something like that.
Wow.
And I was scoring like 9 or 10 of the goals. So I was part of what helped me, I think, and helped with kind of my skill level was when I was on the island, that's all we did every day, but not on grass, not on flat land where it was easy to move the ball around. We actually played on the beach in the sand, which has all these different bumps.
Whoa.
So you had to learn how to be really good at controlling the ball because you had all these different bumps. So obviously when we first came here, I was pretty good, and everybody was telling my father, Semi's pretty good. You should sign him up for a little bit more competitive soccer.
Yeah.
So at the time, Dad didn't really know anything about like Major League Soccer or anything like that. But he thought, or he heard, or he asked people, and he signed me up for the New England Revolution Academy.
Boom.
So the Reds were just starting out having, kind of training their youth team. They saw that worked well in Europe, where all these big teams would actually develop kids from when they were young up until they became pro soccer players. They wouldn't just, kind of get them off the street. Sure. They would train them from when they were young. So they're just starting the development of the Revs Academy. Coach John Murphy was the coach back then. This was back when like Dempsey, Twellman, those big guys were still here and still in Major League Soccer, and it was kind of becoming a big deal at the time. And I played in the Revs Academy, played very well first year. Second year, they decided, you know what, we want to put you on the team. So my second year, I actually ended up playing. Can't say I really played. The coach didn't really put me in too much. But I played with the actual pro.
Come on.
Yeah, so.
Dude, that's really, I love that story.
And thank you. Yeah, no, it was cool. Back then I was like 5'2", 125 pounds. So I was pretty small, but I was very quick, and I was very skillful with the ball.
Yeah.
So I sat down with the coach when I was 17. I remember it like yesterday. Dad came in. I was getting paid a little at the time. My dad was getting I think $18,000 a year from me being on the team, which was good money.
Really? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, and thankfully at the time, Dad is not into investing, is not into the stock market, is not into stocks or anything like that. But luckily, he used that money towards a house, so it went to a good place. I never saw any of it, any cash. I just saw the house that it was going into, which was cool. But I sat down with the coach, and the coach thought that it would be a good idea that I get a little bit bigger and I get a little bit stronger. And then once I'm done with college, I come back and retry out for the team. So I ended up going to school. Played soccer. Halfway through my freshman year, tore my ACL on my right knee. Went through physical therapy, kept a scholarship, came back sophomore year, same knee, retore ACL and meniscus. So.
End of story, huh?
End of story for soccer. I got pretty sad, pretty depressed, but it helped me kind of fall back and jump into my studies. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I did well in school. I finished college with a 3.96 GPA, which was pretty good. And coming from a super strict Albanian family and being an only child, my parents said, we came all the way to the United States for you. No pressure or anything, but you need to go to Harvard. So, so I applied at Harvard for grad school, and I ended up getting waitlisted. So I said, you know what? While I'm here in the summer, I might as well do a summer summer business class, start earning some credits. So if I do get accepted, at least I'll have some credits.
Yep.
So I did like an international business course in the summer at Harvard, and that's where I met two guys that ended up becoming my partners. So they're both from China, very wealthy backgrounds. Families had businesses for 20 and 25 years. And we decided one night after class, as we're sitting down and eating, we decided to start our own company. So long story short, we decided to start a company, and what we did is we were gold brokers. So we'd buy gold overseas, actually in Ghana, Africa. We'd buy it at a discount, we'd bring it over here, and we'd sell it to different gold refineries. And again, long story short, because I don't know how much time we have left.
Like a minute, 2 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this leads me around to the story. So about 2.5 years after having the business, 2 years and 8 months into it, a company from Canada wanted to do the same thing. But because we had most of the land leases and we have all the contracts in Ghana, they didn't have enough manpower, and we had most of the guys working for us. So they made us an offer to buy our company. So I saw, success very early with business, ended up selling the company, traveled all over Europe, traveled the world, got to do a lot of things that I wanted to do, came back, and I started working as a financial advisor. So I think, having a background, being from overseas, having to see what it's like to have your own business and having to worry about whether you're going to make payroll, I got to experience all that. So I think I have a different outlook on business as a whole, and in being able to help people with their own businesses. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's great. A man of all seasons, Semi Spahillari. Hey, it's good having you on. And what are you drinking tonight?
So this is some mango juice. Not much of an alcohol drinker at all. Every now and then I'll have a beer, but it's mostly a juice for me.
Hey, we got to do a virtual clink. I forgot to tell you about that. So hold it in your left hand, equal to your shoulder, and you're going to move it to your right shoulder. And we're going to meet in the middle. It's very difficult to do. Few can do this.
Okay.
All right?
So wait, what do we do?
You're not going to go all the way because you're going to go off screen. So you're going to go right about a little bit further. Right there. Okay, ready? We're going to do a 3, 2, 1. No, go back. Ready? 3. Virtual clink. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. That was one of the better ones. I'm going to grab all those virtual clinks and create a little blooper reel. Semi, thank you for coming, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Get the hamburgers on the grill tomorrow. Call Aaron up.
Yes.
Definitely. We'll have we'll have you over. We'll probably have you over the house and do some burgers ourselves when we can.
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, buddy.
You, Dave. Have a good night.
You too. Semi Spahillari. Yes, he lives just outside of Boston. That Boston Man networking thing is pretty fabulous, and it's great. I was really grateful that he invited us to that, myself and a few other people. But yeah, any questions you have, hopefully you grabbed his phone number and shot him a text. But leave a comment. Tell me what you thought of that. Tell me what you thought of Semi. Hopefully that makes sense. Don't freak out. The economy will rebound. It always does. Yo-yos go down. They always go up. They always go up. Thanks, Semi, says Dave Stebbin. Yeah. All right, we've got 12 minutes. What time is it? What time is it? It's time to play with apps. It's time to play with apps. Great interview. Yeah, Aaron, that was good. Aaron, you got to do some BBQ tomorrow. BBQ. Hey, today's app that I want to play with is actually not super creative, but it helps you tell a story on Instagram. So if anyone's on Instagram, just a little raise your hand, give me a little comment, say, yep, I'm on. Yep, a simple YUP will do. Dave plays with apps. That's right, that's what I'm doing. So here is the app that I want to show you guys. Okay, ready? It's right there in the bottom. Boom, right next to Pinterest. I keep it right next to Pinterest. Pinterest likes to snuggle with it. It's called Swipeable. Have you guys heard of Swipeable? So if you're trying to tell a story on Instagram, there's 3 ways you can do it. You can load a whole bunch of photos and they're in a succession like a gallery, and you kind of swipe through and it's like one photo, next photo, next photo, next photo. That's considered one post. Or you can just put one picture up, which 99% of the people do, or you can go live. Instagram Live, they have IGTV, it's called, Instagram TV. And it really is like a TV station. It's a whole new world when you get into IGTV. We won't go into Instagram totally yet, but I'm going to open up Swipeable. All right. So let me go back. I was already playing with this earlier. I'm going to go to my camera roll. No, let me do this. All right. So it shows me my camera roll. Okay. And actually, you can't really see the whole thing, but there it is. You're really not missing much. But I want to keep, for sake of seeing it really big. There's my daughter being silly. So I'm going to be looking for something like that. That's a panoramic shot. So if you were to take a panoramic shot, this is perfect. What it does is it divides your photo in 3s or 4s or 9s or 10s or however long it is. But people typically do panoramic shot, and it's, the longer you go, the tinier the height is, if you could imagine, because it's trying to keep a square image, then another square image, then another square image, another square image. So if you just do a very short panoramic and it's not that wide, it's only going to break it in 2, and you'll lose the whole top end of it. You just have to play with it and see. So try to take longer panoramic views. Anyway, I took this one at the beach, put a little, saturated the dirt to make it match what I really saw that day, which is really brown. And look at this. It automatically creates 3 separate slides. It gives you that little swipeable logo in the lower corner. And see the little dots? And I'll explain why this is very important to do this. All right, so there's my panoramic. So when you go to Instagram and you see the post, you'll just see this one, but you'll see 3 little dots, and then that thing will animate. I'm not even moving that with my hands. Look, Ma, no hands. It's doing that on its own to tell you that you can, and I'm just doing this. I'm just swiping it. So now I'm gonna post it to Instagram, and there's my account. And where is, I gotta go here. Do I have to go here? Yes. Oh, see? I hit the plus sign to add it. And now, nope, it's not doing it there. See, I'm doing swipeable. What I want to do is I want to click on all 3 of them. So see how the first one is grayed out? I click on the second one. Actually, no, I'm sorry. The far right, underneath the word swipeable, there's a little infinity symbol. And then to the right of that is multiple pages. Click on that. See? And then all of a sudden, that first one that's ghosted out is white. So what you're doing is you're telling Instagram, I'm going to do a lot of shots here, and I want people to scroll through. So 1, 2, 3. Boom. And I hit next. And let me show you this so you can see it. So that's how that looks, right? And boom, boom, boom. There it is. You can even add more if you wanted to, but it divides it up equally. And of course, I'm going to turn off, I don't know if you can see that, the little sound bar. There's no music to it, so I'm going to turn it off so I don't confuse people. And I hit next. I write my little caption and share it. I'm going to delete this in a second, but it's sharing it right now. And this is what it looks like. It looks like anything else, but it's got a swipeable, which is pretty neat. And I'll explain how you can tell a story on Instagram, okay? So now there it is, there it is, there it is. Okay? As opposed to, say, I don't know, Toad, hey, we had these guys on. Oh, no, that was not their thing. They're doing a live feed. I was trying to show one of their posts. But, so that's what that is. So here's the cool thing. People are using this in business. They're explaining something like, say, the mortgage rate or buying or selling a home, and they'll say there's 3 steps to do that. They'll create a graphic. Step 1, bop, 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 bop. And then they'll create step 2, step 3, and you could upload each one of these into Swipeable and just move it across. And this is really engaging. Swipeable or multi-page posts, or they call these also gallery posts, do really, really well. Can you see that below here? 3 little dots. You see them really, really tiny. Right dead in the center, right over there, right? I'm kind of in the way. I'm looking the wrong way. Everything's backwards in the live world. They do really well. They're very engaging. People want to swipe. They want to be entertained. And it looks like a comic strip. I've seen some where you go there and there's a person talking about, 5 ways to boost your email campaign. And then below will be a little arrow. I'm like, oh, cool. This is like reading a comic strip when I was a kid. So I'm just like, boom. And then I see step 2, boom, step 3, step 4, step 5. And it's like addicting. You can't stop at 3. You go all the way to the end. The guy could have 10 slides, but it's like unraveling this story. They call it the big reveal. People do not want to give up on the big reveal. They want to keep swiping to get to the very end of the story. I mean, who goes to the movies and then, 10 minutes before it's over, you're like, yeah, I'm done. I'm kind of bored with this. And then you leave. No, you don't. You stay for the whole thing. That's why multi-page or multi-picture posts do really well on Instagram. So all you have to do is just create a square post with text and have a number 1, create another one, number 2, another one, number 3, and you could upload it the same way. Or you could do a pantograph, So I thought I would just share that. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, look at me. Look at my dog. My dog is like, he's just... How you doing, Austin? You doing okay? He's crying. He's at my feet. The whole time he was here. I love my puppy. Dave plays with apps. Okay, so is anybody still listening? Anybody still on this show? We're losing people here. That was kind of a boring one, huh? I've had better ones. I've done better. It's Friday night. I know. It's the end of the day. 9:41 at night. 9:56. So we're going to end early. Get you kids to bed early for that barbecue cookout tomorrow. Let me just go to this next clip here. So try that. Swipeable. It's free. Download it if you're an Instagram freak and you want to tell stories or you just want to do panoramic stuff. So I've got a closing joke. Rick Greenwood's still here. Yeah. I've got like 3 listeners. That's crazy. Wow. For a popular show, it just went down to 3. Who else is here? Leave a comment so I know who's here. We'll make it a private party. Rick is here. Dave Stebbin might still be here. Okay. Closing joke. Are you ready? Closing joke. So a woman is in the hospital and she's in labor. And she's ready to give this baby. Should be a beautiful day for barbecue, says Dave Stebbin. This woman's in a hospital. She's in labor. She's ready to give a baby. And she's shouting, shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't, can't, didn't. And the doctor comes over and he says, oh, don't worry. Those are just contractions. Contractions. Don't worry. What's the matter, bro?